Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet devam narayanam natva sarvadosha vivarjitam paripurnam gurumshchan gitartam vakshami leshatah Srimad Madhvamate hariparataraha satyam jagat tattvato bedaha jivaganaha harer anucharaha nichocha bhavam gataha muktihi naija sukha anubhutihi amala bhaktishta tatsadanam yakshadi tritayam pramanam akila amnaya ikavedyo harihi. So good evening everyone. The Bhagavad Gita appears in the Bhishma Parva of Mahabharata. Mahabharata, as we all know it, is a great epic. In fact, we consider it as the fifth Vedas. So why is Mahabharata called Mahabharata? It is called Mahabharata because Mahatvat Bharatatvacha Mahabharatam Uchyate. It's Mahatvat, it's big. Bharatatvacha. Bhara means heavy. So because this epic, this scripture is heavy, it's called Mahabharata. So what is it heavy of? So Mahabharata is heavy with regards to its content. It has 100,000 verses. It's heavy from its intellectual content, and it's heavy from its spiritual message to humanity. It is said Mahabharata has at least 10 different meanings. Every word in the Mahabharata has 10 different meanings. If Mahabharata is a huge landscape, it has two peaks, mountains. The first mountain is the Bhagavad Gita, which appears in the Bhishma Parva, and the second mountain is the Vishnu Sahasranama, which comes in Anashana Parva. So as I said, Mahabharata has at least 10 meanings, so does Bhagavad Gita has at least 10 meanings, and Vishnu Sahasranama is considered to have at least 100 meanings. Let's look at the first verse of Mahabharata. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet. So this very first verse of Mahabharata essentially summarizes the chief characters in this great epic and also its philosophy. So Narayanam, the character played by Narayana, is the superhero of Mahabharata, which is Krishna. Naram means Jiva, and the hero of Bhagavad Gita is Arjuna. Narottamam, Nara Uttamam, which means Jiva Uttamaha. So Jiva Uttama is Chaturmukha Brahma and Vayu. Vayu's incarnation is Bhima. Devim, Devi means Mahalakshmi. So Mahalakshmi's incarnation is Rukmani and Satyabhama. Saraswati is the Vak Devi, and Saraswati and Bharati go together. Saraswati is the consort of Chaturmukha Brahma, and Bharati is the consort of Vayu. Bharati's incarnation is Draupadi. Vyasam is Vedavyasa. Vedavyasa is Narayana's incarnation, and he appears in Mahabharata in various parvas, and of course he documents Bhagavad Gita as Krishna recites this to Arjuna. So Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Jayam means Mahabharata. Bhagavad Gita is also called as Jayam. So Vyasa composed the Mahabharata. So this verse summarizes the main characters in Mahabharata. But then if you look at the very first word of Mahabharata, it starts with Narayanam. So you could wonder, why did Vedavyasa started Mahabharata with Narayanam? Why did he not say Krishna Namaskritya or Vasudeva Namaskritya or Aniruddha Namaskritya? Why did he decide to choose Narayana? So the word Narayana has profound philosophical meanings in Vedic philosophy. Narayana is not a sectarian god of the Hindus. He is not the god of the Vaishnavites. The etymology of the word Narayana generates profound philosophical meanings. For example, Narayana can be separated into Nara and Ayana. Nara means water, Ayana means abode. So that which is for which water is the abode is Narayana. When I say water, I mean the cosmic waters. The cosmic waters means the Mula Prakriti that existed before creation, and there is one sentient being that existed before creation, and that sentient being is called Narayana. The word Nara can be divided into Na and Ara. Ara means defects. So Na Ara means no defects. So that which is an abode of no defects is Narayana. So Nara means no defects, which means full of infinite auspicious attributes. So that which is an abode of infinite auspicious attributes is Narayana. Naram means Jnanam. So that which is an abode of Jnana or Nyeya, that which is an object of knowledge, Veda Pratipadya. So that which is an object of knowledge through the Vedas is Narayana. As I said before, Nara means no defects. So defectless jivas means a jiva that is liberated or in mukti is a defectless jiva. So these defectless jiva attain that being. So the being that they attain is Narayana. Naram means Vaikunta. So he who is the abode of Vaikunta or heaven is Narayana. So these are some of the meanings of Narayana that I've given, but actually there are at least 108 meanings for the word Narayana. And hence it's no surprise that Vedavyasa used Narayana as the very first word in Mahabharata. So moving on, this verse essentially illustrates the deep philosophical meanings of every word in the Mahabharata. So as I said before, Mahabharata has 18 parvas, and in the 10th parva, called as the Bhishma parva, Bhagavad Gita appears. Bhagavad Gita has 18 chapters, so it has 701 verses spread over 18 chapters. For today's talk, we are going to dwell a little bit about the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is called as the Purushottama Yoga. So the word Purushottama Yoga is very significant. Why is this chapter called as Purushottama Yoga? So we need to understand that first before we go into the details of each verse within this chapter. So Purushottama Yoga can be separated into Purusha, Uttama and Yoga. Purusha means a person. In modern day Sanskrit and in other languages, Purusha has come to be known as a male. So you could argue, does Hinduism consider their supreme god as a male? Is Hinduism sexist? Is God not a female? So these questions arise. So if you go to Vedic Sanskrit, at the time of the Rishis and at the time when Upanishads were composed, the word Purusha never meant a male or a female. It in fact meant both. More importantly, the word Purusha, from an etymological point of view, has great inner meanings. Let us take a few examples. So the word Purusha can be divided into Pura Asa. Purvameva aham iha asa. So that which existed before creation is Purusha. Puri shete iti Purushaha. Puri or Puram means a dwelling, a township, a place. This universe is a place. This body is a place. So that which exists inside everything is Purusha. Puru Saha or Saha Puru, which means infinite auspicious attributes. Paripurna, complete. Puru Syati iti Purushaha. Syati means Nasha or destruction. So that which destroys the universe is called Purusha. Puru Sanoti. That which gives Purushartha to Jivas is Purusha. That which gives Mukti to Jivas is Purusha. Purusha can also be divided into Pu, Ru and Sha. Pu, Pavitra, pure. The word pure comes from Pu. Ru, Rautiti iti Ruhu. So that which gave Vedas to Chaturmukha Brahma in the Hayagriva form stands for the word Ru. Sha equals Shaha, which means Sarvantaryamitva, that which is inside everything. So from the word Purusha we understand, so this is a being which is pure, that is inside everything, and that gave Vedas to Chaturmukha Brahma. So that is the meaning of Purusha in this context. Purusha Vidatvat Purushaha. That which is worshipped in the human form is Purushaha. Purna Shat Gunatvat Purushaha. So that which has infinite qualities is called Purushaha. So as you can see, this word Purusha in the Purushottama Yoga of Gita actually has meanings at different levels. In fact, the Purusha of Purushottama Yoga is the same Purusha that is celebrated in the Rig Veda as the Purusha Shukta. Srimad Madhvacharya in his Rigbhashyam says, Sapurnatvat Pumannama Paurushe Shukta Iritaha Sa eva Akila Vedartaha Sarva Shastrartha Evacha. So that supreme in the name of Puman means infinite. That person is celebrated in the Purusha Shukta, and the Purusha Shukta is the essence of the Vedas and its essence of all the Shastras. So Purusha of the Purushottama Yoga and the Purusha celebrated in the Rig Veda, and the Narayana that was told by Vedavyasa in the very first verse are one and the same. So Uttama means the highest. So Purusha Uttama means the one who is the highest. So then comes the word yoga. Okay, why is the word yoga used in every chapter of the Bhagavad Gita? You have Vishara Yoga, you have Kshetrajna Yoga, you have Guna Traya Vibhaga Yoga, then you have Purushottama Yoga, and so on. So the word yoga actually has several meanings. In fact, it has at least 37 different meanings, and it all depends on the context in which it appears. So in this context, yoga means upaya or jnana upaya, or a means for knowledge. So basically it means this chapter is the means of obtaining the knowledge about Purusha Uttama. So Purushottama Yoga. Moving on. So the Purushottama Yoga, as I said, is a very important and a key chapter in the Bhagavad Gita. Why is that the case? So the entire Vedic philosophy discusses the whole of existence. So in existence, there are only three entities that comprise the whole of existence. It's God or Brahman, matter or Prakriti, and the Jivas or the souls. So what is the relationship between these three entities? Does God transform himself into matter and Jivas? Or is matter and Jiva the body of God? Or is matter and Jiva a superimposition on God? Or is God different from matter and Jivas and is an independent being that controls matter and Jivas? So these are all the questions that come in Vedantic philosophy in various schools. So this particular chapter essentially deals with these issues over 20 verses. The first 2.5 verses deal with matter in the form of Jagat Vriksha. The sadhanas that the jivas have to do to know about God is dealt with from verse 2.5 to verse 5. The Swarupa of God is discussed in verse 6 to 11. The Sarvantaryamitva of God is discussed in verse 12 to 15. And Sarvottamatva of God is discussed from verse 16 to 20. So you might ask, what is the reason in this arrangement? Why should Prakriti be discussed first, then the sadhanas that jivas have to do, and then finally God? What is the sequence? Well, the reason behind this is we jivas, we live in this world. This world is made of matter. So the fundamental requirement for us, even before we progress to know about God, is that we need to know about this world, this body. How does this appear? How does this come about? How am I entangled in this matter? How am I entangled in this so-called samsara? And so on. So we need to have a deep understanding about matter first. Unless we know how matter entangles us, there is no way in which we could find a tool to disentangle ourselves from matter. So Jagat Vriksha or Prakriti or understanding the nature of the universe is a fundamental requirement even before we start understanding about God. So the 20 verses in the Purana Purushottama Yoga starts from the discussions about the universe and it takes us to philosophical heights, and it reaches its peak in the Sarvottamatva of God, describing the greatness and glories of God from verse 16 to verse 20. So in fact it is said that if one knows the Bhagavad Gita, which comprises, as you know, of 701 verses, then it is equivalent to knowing the Mahabharata, which has 100,000 verses. So we are not going to be able to memorize 100,000 verses. To make our life easy, it is then said that if you can't memorize the 701 verses in the Bhagavad Gita, at least if you can memorize and understand the 20 verses in the Purushottama Yoga, that is equivalent to understanding the whole of the Bhagavad Gita, and which is equivalent to understanding the whole of Mahabharata. And understanding Mahabharata means understanding the philosophy of the Vedas. If you can't be bothered to even memorize and understand the 20 verses of chapter 15, if you could at least make an effort to understand and memorize the last 5 verses, verses 16 to verse 20, that is equivalent to understanding the whole of chapter 15. And if you have understood chapter 15, it means you have understood the Gita. And if you have understood the Gita, it means you have understood the Bharata. If you have understood the Bharata, then it means you have understood the Vedas. So our acharyas have given a great emphasis and stress on understanding the meanings and the philosophies hidden within the Purushottama Yoga. Let's move on. So let's take some verses, and I would want to start off by spending the next 20-30 minutes discussing about the Vedic philosophy about Prakriti. So this is described in chapter 15 in 2.5 verses. Urdhva Moolam Adaha Shakam Ashvattam Prahur Avyayam Chandamsi Yasya Paranani Yastam Veda Savedavit Adashcha Urdhvam Prasrutasya Shakaha Guna Pravruddhaha Vishaya Pravalaha Adashcha Moolan Anusantatani Karma Anubandhini Manushya Loke Narupam Asya Iha Tata Upalabhyate Na Anto Nacha Adihi Nacha Sampratishta Ashvattam Yenam Suviruda Moolam Asanga Shastrena Dhrudena Chitva Tataha Padam Tat Parimargitavyam Yasmin Gata Na Nivartanti Bhuyaha Tamevacha Adyam Purusham Prapadye Yataha Pravritihi Prasruta Purani. So I have separated this into the first 2.5 verse, and I've also inserted the 1.5 verse for the next topic. Let's see how it evolves. Let's see if we have time, if we can deal with the rest. So to understand the discussion about Prakriti in chapter 15, one also needs to understand that every chapter in the Bhagavad Gita is actually related to another one, either behind it or following it. So every chapter is there for a purpose. So the chapter 15's 2.5 verses about the Jagat actually is inspired by chapter 13, which is Kshetrajna Yoga. So in Kshetrajna Yoga, Arjuna asks Krishna, can you explain to me what is Kshetra, what is Kshetrajna, what is Jnana, what is Gneya, what is Prakriti, what is Purusha? Can you explain to me about all these things? So the Krishna starts in the second verse in chapter 13 saying, Idam Shariram Kaunteya Kshetrajnam iti abhidiyate, Kshetram iti abhidiyate. Yetadyo veti tam prahuhu kshetrajnam iti tadvidaha. Kshetragnam chapi mam viddihi sarva kshetreshu bharata. Kshetra kshetragnayor jnanam yattad jnanam matam mama. Tad kshetram yaccha yadrik cha yad vikari yatascha yat sachayo yat prabhavashcha tat samasena me shrunu. So the fourth verse in chapter 13 is beautiful. So Krishna says, what is that kshetra? What is its nature? What are its modifications? How does it work? Under whose control it works? And what are the qualities of that person who controls this kshetra? I shall explain to you. And he goes on and explaining this further in Kshetra Yoga. So this Kshetra is this universe, the Brahmanda. This Kshetra is also this body, the Pindanda. So this is the key topic that is discussed in chapter 15 of Bhagavad Gita. So let's move on to the first verse. Urdhvamulam Adaha Shakam Ashwattam Prahuravyayam Chandamsi Yasya Paranani Yastam Veda Savedavit. So the literal English translation of this would be is this world tree or this world banyan tree is an inverted banyan tree. The roots of this tree goes upwards, the branches downwards. The leaves of this tree are the Vedas, and he who knows this knows the Vedas. So that is the literal transliteration of this verse, which doesn't make sense. So this verse is very cryptic. It has tickled many philosophers and many acharyas as to how to interpret this. So let's tackle this a bit more. So Urdhva, the first word here is Urdhva. So Urdhva means in colloquial Sanskrit above. Mula means root. So Adaha Shakam Ashwattam. Adaha Shakam Ashwattam means the world. So the sense there is, so the origin of this world is in the roots that is high above. So it would imply that it is God who is the origin of this world. So then Urdhva means above. Does that mean God is only high above? Is he not below? Is he not to our sides? Is he not everywhere? He is. So Urdhva here does not mean above. Srimad Acharya says Urdhvaha unnataha sarvataha. Urdhvo Vishnuhu. So Urdhva and Unnataha are synonyms. Unnataha means the supreme, the highest. So that means this God is the highest. Then he says Urdhvo Vishnuhu. What is the reason for that? So this particular verse actually comes in Kataka Upanishad, and a similar description comes elsewhere. In Taittiriya Aranyaka, there is a mantra which says Urdhvo Pavitro Vajanivasu Amrutam Asmi Dravinam Savarchasam. So the Urdhva there in Taittiriya Upanishad denotes Vishnu. So Srimad Acharya links this here and says the supreme person Vishnu is the origin of this world. So this world called as the Ashwatha tree. Now the word Ashwatha that is used here is very interesting. Why did Vedavyasa use the word Ashwatham for the world? There were several reasons for this. In the 10th chapter, in the Vibhuti Yoga, 26th verse, Krishna says, Ashwathaha sarva vrikshanam. I am the Ashwatha tree among all the trees. So Ashwatha tree is a very, very special tree for the Hindus. It is a very holy tree. In fact, it is considered that many of the divinities exist in the Ashwatha tree. In fact, if you go to the Indian villages, you would see many small temples around the Ashwatha tree in India. So that's maybe one reason why Vedavyasa has used Ashwatha here. The other reason, of course, is when we see the banyan tree, we are quite impressed with its size and the way it has spread. The sheer size of this tree impresses us. So we get an idea about this universe. The universe is vast and it's big. So when we look at the Ashwatha tree, we get reminded about this big universe or Jagat. So that's one reason why Ashwatha has been used here to denote the world. The third point here is, although the Ashwatha tree is huge and big and beautiful, the fruits that come out of the Ashwatha tree, they are very small and they are very bitter. So that again tells you the benefits that we get in this vast world, they are very small, they don't last long, and they are very bitter. Okay. Another reason why the word Ashwatha, the tree Ashwatha has been used here is for universe is the word Ashwatha can be separated into Ashwa and Tha. Tha means that which remains, and Ashwa means horse. So that which remains like a horse. This universe is like a horse. Why is it like a horse? Because it's constantly moving. It's quite restless. This universe is constantly on the moving. Okay. The other meaning of the word Ashwatha is, you can separate Ashwatha into A, Swa and Tha. So as I said before, Twa means that which remains. Swa means tomorrow. So that which remains tomorrow. So the opposite of that is Aswatha, that which does not remain the same tomorrow, which means that which is constantly changing. Okay, and we all know the universe is constantly changing. What is now in the very next moment is different. The next hour is different. Tomorrow is different. So the universe is constantly changing. So those are some of the reasons why Vedavyasa has compared this world to an Ashwatha tree. So then he goes on to say, Prahur Avyayam. Although this universe is constantly changing, it is indestructible. Avyaya means indestructible. So this universe comes from the Mula Prakriti. So, and then it evolves, and then during Pralaya, it again becomes Mula Prakriti, and it goes in cycles of creation and destruction. So in every cycle, the transformation that happens in the universe is exactly the same. So although it transforms its primary state, it is indestructible. So moving on to the next line, Chandamsi Yasya Paranani. So Vedavyasa here says, the leaves of this tree, Paranani means leaves, the leaves of the tree, the leaves of this tree are the Vedas. Chandamsi means the Vedas. Why did he say that? You might have seen various trees in winter, they hardly have any leaves. So when there is no leaves, there is no fruits. So presence of the leaf is a primary requirement for the tree to produce fruits. So the Vedas are like those trees. If it depends on how you use the Vedas. If you use the Vedas in a ritualistic sense, you could attain some temporary fruits and you can go to Swarga, but again you come back. But if you use the Vedas to understand higher knowledge, to understand the Supreme, then you have a scope for liberation where you get eternal fruit. Yastam Veda Savedavit. So he who knows this knows the Vedas. So to summarize this verse, essentially what it is telling us is that this world is constantly changing, and that we need to understand this world in the right sense using the Vedas, then we might be able to understand the essence of the Vedas. So moving on to the next verse. So the next verse says, Adashcha urdvam prasrutasya shakaha guna pravruddha vishaya pravalaha adashcha moolan anusantatani karma anubandhini manushya loke. So adashcha urdvam prasrutasya shakaha. So I have given you an image of the banyan tree here. So the branches of this banyan tree goes high above and below, and it is spread everywhere. So that is how the banyan tree spreads itself, with branches above and below. And when I was doing some Google images about how the universe looks like, and I found a picture which essentially looks like branches going above and below. So this universe is like an Ashwatha tree with branches going above and below. The next word here, guna pravruddha, is quite significant. So what does Vedavyasa actually mean by the word guna pravruddha? Okay. So in Sanskrit, the word guna has several meanings, and it is one of the most misunderstood terms in Sanskrit. So guna has at least three meanings. The first meaning is guna implies quality. Guna also stands for a rope or a thread or a strand. Guna also means subordinate or secondary. So let's explore this a bit further. So let's consider guna as a quality. So what has qualities? Substances have qualities. Quality as a standalone thing does not exist in the universe. If there is a substance, then the substance has an attribute or a quality. Okay? So first we have to understand that when I say guna as a quality, I mean the substances with a particular qualities. So the Vedic cosmology says before creation, all that existed was the Mula Prakriti, or the primordial state of matter. And then in this situation, there are three strands or three substances, three types of substances in Mula Prakriti, called as Sattva Guna, Rajoguna and Tamoguna. So the Sattva Guna is the intelligent stuff, the Rajoguna is the energy stuff, and the Tamoguna is the mass stuff, or that which produces inertia. So these are the three basic categorization of the primordials too. So these three substances are in constant tension but are in equilibrium before creation. When God decides to create, He says, Om. That disturbs the equilibrium and initiates creation, where these substances mix with each other and evolve and transform into other substances. So the first evolute during creation is the Mahat Tattva. A portion of the Mahat Tattva becomes Ahankara Tattva. Ahankara Tattva transforms into three types: Tejasa Ahankara, Vaikarika Ahankara and Tamasa Ahankara. Tamasa Ahankara transforms into the 5 Tanmatras and the 5 Panchamahabhutas. The Vaikarika Ahankara transforms into the mind stuff. The Tejasa Ahankara becomes the Indriyas, the 5 Karma Indriyas and the 5 Jnana Indriyas. So, the Panchamahabhutas, the 5 Panchamahabhutas is Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Aap, Prithvi. So these five Pancha Mahabhutas are the evolutes of the Tamasa Ahankara Tattva. So this gives you an idea of how the universe evolves from these three primary types of substances, the Sattva Guna, Rajoguna and the Tamoguna. So when the Gita says Guna Pravruddha, what it essentially means is this universe that has come about on account of the gunas. It means it has come about on account of gunas because of mixing up of each other during creation. On an interesting note, I was recently looking at some articles on elementary particle physics to try and understand how various neutrons, protons, and so on, how they evolve. And what fascinated me was the current understanding of elementary particle physics is there are some fundamental particles called fermions. And the fermions includes quarks and leptons and so on. So these actually mix with each other and generate additional substances which go on to make the matter that we know of. I believe there are various types of fermions, but by and large, all the fermions have mathematically been classified into three types of fermions. And that was quite interesting. Well, if elementary particle physics says there are only three primary groups of fermions that become matter, it seems to go with the Vedic cosmology, where you have three different types of substances that mix together and form the rest of the matter. Moving on. So this slide essentially summarizes the state of play here. So matter as we know it includes intellect, mind, the brain, our senses, and of course things that are outside of us, such as the trees and the mountains and the rivers and so on. So these form the products of the Prakriti, and Jiva is us. So in this sense, Guna also has another meaning, and as I said before, Guna also means a rope or a thread or a strand. So why did we use a rope? A rope is used to tie things. So that gives you an idea that gunas or matter is tied to is bound to the soul. It is bound to the soul so much so that we actually identify ourselves with this body, which is made up of gunas. We identify ourselves by primary ignorance that we are this body, and we go around this world as headless chickens and get ourselves embroiled in cycles of samsara. So that is another way of looking at guna. And thirdly, as I said, guna also means subordinate or secondary. Secondary to what? Secondary to Purushas. Okay, secondary to Purusha, God. God is the primary thing and all else is secondary thing. So when Vedavyasa said Guna Pravruddha, it makes us to think about these various concepts that exist in Vedic philosophy that appears to tally with current day cosmology. So moving on, it then goes on to say Vishaya Pravalaha. So what is Vishaya Pravalaha means? Pravalaha means twigs of the tree. So because of gunas, we are tied up to this body. The body is made up of matter. We have identified ourselves as this body. So we are running around feeding this body, which is made up of matter, using things that are also made up of matter. So Pravalaha are the twigs of this tree. The twigs or the tender shoots, they feel good, they look attractive, and we go and eat it. And when we eat these twigs, we have forgotten that by eating those twigs, we have prevented leaves from appearing on the tree. And when we have prevented leaves from appearing on the tree, we have prevented fruits from appearing on the tree. So in our haste to eat the twigs, we have missed the fruits. The next word, adashta moolan anusantatani. This is interesting. So adashta means below. So this world, moolani anusantatani. This world is pervaded by that root, that primary source. It is pervaded by this primary source which controls this world. So this is a very popular topic in various Upanishads as to how God brings forth His creation. In Taittiriya Upanishad, for example, in Brihuvalli, there is a beautiful mantra that describes this. It says, Satapas taptva idam sarvam asrijata tad shrishtva tadeva anupravishata tad anupravisha sat cha tvat cha abhavat. It says, God, before creation, just before creation, He thought, let me create. Once He thought, let me create, then He created. Once He created, He also took various forms and entered into each thing that He created. And He entered into each thing to maintain their existence and also their function. So when Gita says adashta moolani anusantatani, it means God has pervaded in all of His creation, including the jivas and including the prakriti. So the next question that comes in is, what does the word karma anubandhini manushya loke means? Why did Veda Vyasa use the word manushya loke and not jiva loke, for example? So this is interesting. We all know, as per Vedic philosophy, that we go around from one species to another species eternally. We move from one form of life to another form of life. And this is dictated by the types of karmas that you have done. And once we reach a human being stage, that is the highest being stage in Mrityu Loka. And this is the time as human beings that we can do our karmas to attain salvation or to remain in this world. So only the human beings have an opportunity to do karma yoga or nishkama karma yoga to achieve salvation. Okay, and that is the reason why Veda Vyasa is used manushya loke. And what does karma anubandhini means? God dispenses the fruits of one's action based on one's karma. He is impartial and He just dispenses the fruit, and that is how the affairs of the world are conducted. The link between karma, the jiva and the prakriti is quite complicated, and I think it needs a separate lecture to talk about. But for the purpose of today's introductory talk, let's move on. So how does the soul interact with matter? You have the body, the gross body and the subtle body that covers the soul. And soul, through its sense organs, interacts with the world outside. And how does the soul does its action? The initiation of action comes from the soul, and that with its karma indriya interacts with the external world. And when it interacts with the external world, it does karmas, and that has a reaction on its subtle body, and it goes into the cycles of samsara as shown in this slide. So karma is a key principle that is involved in samsara, and in fact it is said it takes 10 future births for an individual to work out the amount of karma accumulated after 14th year of life in one birth. So the removal of eradication of karma and the shredding of the subtle body is the liberation of the soul. So moving on to the next verse, it says, Narupam asya iha tata upalabhyate na anto na cha adihi na cha sampratishta. So when we look at it from a universe's point of view, Vedavyasa is telling us, do you guys know where the universe, the beginning of the universe is? Where is the middle of the universe is? Where is the end of the universe is? No. None of us know. Similarly, do you know the beginning of God, the middle of God, or the end of God? You do not know. Similarly, for this big tree, you have roots below. Are you able to see the roots? All that you are seeing is the tree, but you don't see the roots of this tree, although you know it exists. So it is asking us to think about the universe and the vastness of the universe and how small we are in the grand scheme of things as souls. Next line. Ashwattam yenam suviruda moolam asanga shastrena dhrudena chitva. I love this line. Ashwattam yenam suviruda moolam. What it's saying is this universe is tied to its roots very firmly. So this universe, this body is tightly entangled to this matter. How do you disentangle yourself? You can do that with the weapon of asanga. Asanga means detachment. With firm detachment as a weapon, you can cut this firm attachment of this prakriti to you. So that is one sense that one can get from this. But there is a much more of a profound meaning here that I want to describe. So Ashwattam yenam. So this word Suviruda moolam. So Suviruda is a significant word there. Suviruda can be separated into Su, Vi and Ruda. Su stands for Suparna. Suparna is Garuda. Vi is bird. So Garuda bird. Ruda means that is a carrier. So Garuda is the carrier of whom? Garuda is the carrier of Vishnu. So this word Ashwattam enam suviruda moolam means this world has its origin in Vishnu. Okay. Asanga shastrena. The word asanga can again be split into a and sanga. The letter A is described in the 10th chapter where Krishna says, Aksharanam akarosmi. Among all the letters, I am the letter A. A iti Brahma. So, sanga means attachment. So, attachment to me. A drudena sanga, a firm attachment to me is the weapon by which you can actually know about me. Okay, so that is another sense of this. So Shastra means weapon. So for knowing about God, what is the Shastra that we have to use? It is the Shastra, which is the Shastra to be used to have a firm attachment to God so that we can know that it is God who is the origin of this universe. Om Janmadhyasya Yataha Om. The second sutra of Badarayana comes here. And finally, the fourth verse, I think we got some time to talk about fourth verse. Tataha padam tat parimargitavyam yasmin gata na nivartanti bhuyaha tamevacha adyam purusham prapadye yataha pravriti prasruta purani. Tataha padam tat parimargitavyam. So when you want to understand the bigger things in life, you need to start contemplating and you use logical reasoning to understand who is behind this universe. So this universe is an effect. An effect means there has to be a cause. For example, if there is a pot, we understand that the pot has come from a a lump of clay. So the clay is the cause and pot is the effect. So the cause has two aspects. You have the material cause and an efficient cause. So the material cause of the pot is the clay, whereas the efficient cause of the pot is the potter. A potter, a sentient being, uses a material clay to create the pot. Similarly, this universe, which is an effect, is created from Mula Prakriti, which is the material cause, and the efficient cause behind this creation is the Supreme Being. So that is how you use deductive reasoning to understand that God is an efficient cause of the creation of the universe. So then Vedavyasa says, Yasmin gata na nivartanti bhuyaha. He who understands this knowledge, eventually will reach that Supreme Person. And once he reaches that Supreme Person, he'll never come back again in samsara. Tamevacha adyam purusham prapadye yataha pravriti prasruta purani is the concluding line. Tamevacha means only him. Adyam Purusham means Adi Purusha. Okay. So we understand that this universe has its origin from that first Purusha. Yataha Pravriti Prasruta Purani. So this universe has come from a very long time from this Supreme Being. So that is the essence of the first 4 verses of Purushottama Yoga. So I want to finish off by over the next minute or two to just reflect back upon what I have said. One may ask, so what's the big deal? Yes, Krishna has spoken so much about this world and how it came and so on. So why do we need to dissect and understand this world? Srimad Madhvacharya in Dwadasha Stotra says, Bahuchitra Jagat Bahuda Karanat Parasaktihi Ananta Gunaihi Paramaha. So when we look at this world, we have to look at this world with awe and wonder. How complex this universe is. Although this universe is complex, it's very organized, it's very ordered, things seems to be moving, there is a physical laws that operate in this universe. Oh wow, how fantastic. If the universe itself, which is an effect, is so fantastic, then you ask the question, how fantastic must be the creator of this universe? And that is what Vedavyasa is asking us to ask here, and that is what Srimad Acharya is also asking us to ask here. So once you make the journey to understand how fantastic the creator of this universe is, that is the path to your salvation. So I'll stop there. I hope you found it interesting, and I'm more than happy to take any questions that you might have. Sri Krishna Pranamastu.